Welcome back to the Morning Juice. I am your host, Juice, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk to Brian. We're going to talk about how this podcast so far has affected his outlook on people in recovery and just whatever else we talk about today. We're just free. We're just going no script. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing fantastic. Juice,
So-
I'm great.
For everybody that don't know, this is the producer, Brian, that's always behind the cameras that does everything.
You may have seen me at the very end of Tyler's episode, sitting kind of awkwardly in between Juice and Tyler because I did not expect to be on camera that day.
And I take up most of the couch.
So,
So tell us how this podcast has affected you.
So there's been a few things. First of all, welcome to my humble abode. Here, as you can see, my nerdum behind me. These are all my
See
Legos.
all the Legos.
These are all my Legos. Yeah. So first of all, and I know we've explained the story just a million times. So Juice and I, we used to work together at a certain place that I may or may not name, but y'all probably know if you know. If you know, you know. Anyways, and he left to get into the recovery field, and I was sad, mopey, and depressed, and mad that he left. I cussed him out a lot when he left. I was very upset.
But stayed in touch.
Yes, did actively stay in touch. But because on the flip side of that, I was actually also happy because with my job and my profession and my position, I couldn't hang out with him outside of work. And I'm like, son of a, why? And then when he left, I was so mad, but I was like, you know what? Now we get a chance to kind of hang out outside of work.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he would stop into the store, come and visit. And he came in and he was like, man, I got this dream. I got this idea. I don't know how to get it done. And he explained it to me. I was like, shit, I can make that happen. Because I have, really two podcasts of my own that I do, and they're sports related. Shouts out to at KFR Sportscast and at One on One with BG on YouTube and everything. And so I'm like, yeah. I was like, he told me about it. I said, you know what? I said, I think we can do it. Let me think on it. And so literally within a few hours or the next day, I was just like, let's do it. Let's plan a time and date. We'll get together, go to a coffee shop, and we'll set everything up. And so yeah, it's and this has been the outcome so far, and it's been nice. But now to focus on your question, recovery. I never truly understood recovery. Right, I have a best friend of mine who was in addiction and living that kind of lifestyle, and I know he went out to California to get treatment and came back, and he's been sober ever since. Very proud of him. Shouts out to Big Sexy Jake, and super proud of him. But I still never understood. I never saw it firsthand, and so I didn't have a good grasp. I thought, looking into cinema and everything like that, I didn't know what to expect. And so when we start making these episodes, and even just first starting with Juice's story, and I believe Lee was our first two, right? It was you and Lee.
It was me and Lee.
And just sitting here and listening, and just understanding the impact that life has brought to them, and everything that happened. Because in my mindset, I've always thought my childhood wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst, though. There was trauma, but nothing that I haven't been able to get over just mentally. But listening to these stories and everything, it's just been so impactful on me, because I'm like, wow, they're so inspirational. Even though I haven't gone through any drug addiction or alcohol or alcoholism or anything like that, but just going to the spiritual side of that and just looking at how much these people have changed. Complete full 180. The term turning over a new leaf right? I've heard friends like throw that out there, right? And they're like, I'm gonna do a full 180, and then they do a 360, and they just end up right back where they were. And so, but to like truly look at, you know, all these people and all these guests and see like how much their life has changed, and you would never know. Like, you would never know. You would never know some of these people went through what they're going through. And, you know, I've always had a mindset of, you know, people are going through stuff, you know, which is why I am always courteous to people. I don't treat people any different, right? I'm not quick to anger with anybody. I'm very patient with people, which is one thing that they just can't seem to get a grasp of at work, you know, because they're always like, you know, I'll have customers. I work in retail. We'll just leave it at that. I work in retail. Again, if you guys know where I work, you know. And being in a management position, constantly, customers yelling in my face. Constantly. But I don't change. Right? I'm not going to stoop down to their level. I'm not, because people are going through stuff.
Yep.
Right? Because even though like this one thing went wrong for them, they could have a million other things that went wrong before that. And so, right, that's my job to help. Which I think is probably the biggest reason why I stepped into this.
Right.
It's because I love helping. Right? I love this life is so much bigger than myself. And, you know, I've always been, you know, I want to put other people before myself. You know, but also still take care of myself. And this is kind of a give and take thing for me. Right? You know, we're sharing this and we're giving people the help they need, and what we're taking from it is, right, I mean, we're taking that feel good feeling, but in a way it's also helping me.
Absolutely.
So it's because, you know, prior to, and we can dive into a little bit of my life within the last few years, so right around just before you started, or right around when you started, so my job they didn't require me to, but they wanted me to like switch my shift. So I'm a night person. Always have been, probably always will be. Now day shift was wake up at 3:30 in the morning, you know, be to work by 4:30. And I'm just like, ain't no way, you know. And they didn't give me a whole lot of time to kind of like switch my sleep schedule. So I went from basically closing to then opening. And it threw me for a loop. And so that dramatic shift like threw my body into just like this whole big anxiety attack. I mean, I was having panic attacks at work. Right, I wasn't the happy-go-lucky, high-spirited person, and people knew that I normally was.
Yeah.
And it threw my whole life for a loop. And on the flip side of that, you know, I thought there was something going on with me medically. I was having a lot of just chest pains and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Like this is it. Gotta pull the cord. Like I'm gone. I'm a goner.
You was having bad anxiety
attacks. Yeah, like so bad. Right. I was like, this is it. I'm done.
Tap out.
You know, fuck, I'm not going to, you know, be able to see my kids grow up. What the fuck? Like, you know, and so like I'm going through these attacks. Right. And so then I'm not eating. Like I am eating, but it's like these like portion plates that are like this big, like so little. And I'm kind of like at that moment of like, you know, I should probably eat because, you know, it's breakfast time. You know, maybe I should eat because it's lunch or because it's
right.
Right. And for those of you who do know me, right, know that I've been on a weight loss journey. So I was at one point, like when I got married, I was almost 300 pounds, if not 300 pounds. Right. And now, you know, when I started at my job that I met Juice at, I was down to probably about like 260 or somewhere around there, 255, somewhere around there. Well, I go through this 3-month span of working mornings and like not eating at all and everything. And I dropped close to like 30 pounds. I got down to like 220. And so I had to go to the doctor, right? And they're like, it's just anxiety. So, and my biggest thing was like, I couldn't go to sleep.
Right.
Because I had all these things racing through my mind. As soon as, all day, like I got to a point like during the day, I was fine. I was focusing on work. I had the kids to look after, right? I was doing all the stuff. And then, but as soon as I get to myself.
Yep.
And I'm alone.
Yep.
everything floods in. And so they put me on a medication that kind of just like dulled my mind, and currently still on it. And it's helped dramatically. And then eventually, after 3 months of being on days, I went back to nights, and I'm like, never doing that again.
Yeah, that stopped when I was working there.
Yeah. So it was a whole loop. I mean, and really, even coming back tonight, like it took me a minute to really gain back to what I am now. And so even right up until just about when I started doing this with Juice, like I was still struggling with, like sleeping a little bit, and it's just because my mind was still so overwhelmed. But now doing this has almost kind of put my mind at ease.
Yeah, I like that.
Even though like, I still have my mind full of obviously like the social media stuff and the video editing and the event coverage, right? And which would seem like a lot to people, right? But it's stuff that I thoroughly enjoy. I'm able to balance it more, but for some reason, listening to like all of these people and knowing like this isn't a quarter of as bad as what some of these people have been through. And I'm just like, wow, like, so I've definitely switched to, I'm more grateful in my life.
There you go. See, that's
and everything. So
I'm, even though I did have a journey, I'm more grateful today through the podcast, just cause like some of our guests, man.
Oh yeah. It's been awesome.
So, some of the stories are just like, man, some of these people have overcome so much, and like, I think of the one that we just recorded the other day that comes out.
Well, it should be tomorrow.
Well, or Monday. Last week.
Yeah.
Last week. By the time y'all see this, it'll be last week.
Yeah.
And her story was just like, it made me tear up just because it made me think of my own mom and my own kids, So like, it's amazing when I can connect to a story like that where I can feel it on an emotional level. Like it's like, I don't know. It just to be able to listen to them sit there and go through something so tragic as like the relationship abuse, and the domestic abuse that came with it, or like Lee telling his story, sitting on a motorcycle, fixing to pull out in front of the van, that had the kids in it that he didn't pull out of, and just moments like that is what sticks with me. Like there's always a moment in a show where like I'm just like, that's powerful. Like that's, if somebody actually needs that right there, it's gonna, that's the line that's gonna hit home. And recently Brian has been we've been listening to like some really good one-liners from some of our shows. And like we'll sometimes I say it, and sometimes I don't say it.
Yeah. So the unity in the community thing that came from Michael Rossi.
It was on that episode. I said it, but it was that episode.
Yeah, and as soon as like you said it, like even that hit home for me. I was like, That was like a hard like music line that you hear, and as soon as he said it, he was like, "Man, we're gonna have to trademark that." I'm like, I'm off camera, like, we're gonna put it on a T-shirt.
And the one last week that y'all will see before this episode, she said something.
Yeah, so we got two different designs that will be coming out. One of them I think is probably already out if I haven't. But one is like says on the back, it says, "We're gonna love you until you can love yourself."
Yes.
And then the other one is it says "You are unlovable," but then we have the UN crossed out. So basically you are. I might change that to "You are loved."
Yeah.
Instead of lovable. So we'll probably know that, right? But yeah, I mean,
and he comes up with the designs for the shirts like this one right here. Some of y'all said that I did this. I did not do this. He took a picture of me and done his his magic.
Yeah. So, and then also just released, if you guys haven't seen it, we have a new design which will pop up on the screen here because that's what I'll do. But very similar, but we've actually been able to partner with the National Foundation, National Foundation Suicide Attempt.
American Suicide.
I mean, basically to help prevent suicides.
Yes.
Right. And so the name of the shirt is Support Hope, Wear the Change. And so 20% of all profits go toward that foundation. And we're definitely going to continue that trend. And so probably coming up, like there will be a lot of shirts that will have some sort of tie to some mental health or drug abuse kind of foundation that we're going to use.
And this is kind of us putting what little money we make back into what we're trying to help with.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, because in all reality, like and I can even give you guys like a behind the scenes, right? So like when we released these shirts that Juice has got on, I mean, we sold probably like in total probably 10-15 shirts. Right, we made $13.
Yeah, we ain't trying to make no money off of
it. So like, great, right? I mean, all that money just gets put back into this, but essentially now, as well, we'll take like those profits and now we're gonna give them back to like charities and stuff, and stuff that's very important to us to help support as much as we can.
And something like if we get lucky and this podcast was to make money. We've already talked that we was going to hit some of these foundations up. And
I'm going to buy a yacht.
Abby's going to start working on that side of it. Not that we're trying to make money off of it, but we would like to make a little bit so Brian can get some more equipment so he can spruce things up the way he wants to.
Yeah, I mean, right. I always have a vision in my head, but I'm patient. This all comes from patience. Like I have. And really, it's just like such generic stuff. Like,
yeah, like
it's not even like
he
probably wants a $16,000 camera, which I do, but it's so like lighting.
Yeah, his Amazon wish list has stuff on there that's like $10 and $15. I think the most expensive thing is like $60.
Well, I think in all reality, I think the most expensive thing. And so when I put this wish list out there, like it's not just for me. Like some of the stuff is for me, but it's really for this. I think the most expensive thing is the lighting.
Yeah.
Which in total is probably like $200. But again, patience is a virtue, and I know that is I keep working. I'll be blessed with the things that I need rather than the things that I want.
And if y'all haven't noticed yet, I don't know what episode this is. What episode is this?
Oh god, this is like episode like 18, I think.
Okay, each and every episode has had one thing different in it at least.
Yeah.
We'll give you an example. Today's episode, we're back to the little mics.
And
we're in his living room instead of that path. So like every episode, there is an Easter egg in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So now y'all can go back and try to find all those.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll go through them at the end of the season.
And we're gonna end season 1 right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, we're gonna end it right around the holidays, right? Because that gives obviously all of us time to spend time with our families, and everything, right? I mean, because even though to most people this would seem like a hobby, right? We still want to treat it like a job.
Yep.
Right. So we still want to promote that work-life balance. Like Juice has been awesome enough to work around my full-time schedule, and I'm like, hey, listen, like I get 2 days off a week, and I was like, we can record one day. The other day I'd like to spend with the wife and kids, and
absolutely.
So we want to treat it like that, and we want to continue to have that work-life balance because again, when you're in the recovery field, work-life balance is a big thing. Is essential, right?
But our goal is we're gonna have a season 1 wrap-up show.
Yeah.
Sometime around that time.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and make it to where maybe we can get some of those former guests that we've had over the course of multiple episodes. Maybe get them into one big episode, right? And shoot it. And
which is a lot of schedules to try to match up.
Well,
but
it is.
We'll figure it out. We always figure it out.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's been so much going on. I mean, some people don't see the behind the scenes.
Yeah, like some weeks we are like today. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. It's a Sunday morning. This is gonna be when y'all see this. Jess's episode will have already shown, and we realized on Thursday or Friday this week that we wasn't gonna be able to shoot none at all next week because he was only available in the mornings and I had to work all the mornings. So we was like, let's just do something with me and him, because it's like we did not want to just try to rush somebody in and like I didn't feel like if we rushed somebody in, it would not give me the quality of episode that I'd want.
Right.
With a guest, but with me and him, we talk off camera all the time. So like, just wanted to bring him on here because like, there's been moments in our shows where I look up and even he gets emotional because like, you know, you just feel it. Like, I wish I could explain to everybody at home the feelings we get when we get so in tune with somebody's story that we all get emotional, you know, and it's just like, it's like a God moment. And I just hope some of y'all feel that when y'all are watching these episodes, because like for us, when we feel them, it's just like I think of T-Bell's episode, you know, when he talked about his friend passing away and hearing his voice crack and how it choked me up because he's one of my best friends. I think of Scott's episode when he was talking about his dad and starting his relationship back with his kids and how it just, you know, that one got me in my throat and in my feels pretty good. You know, there's been multiple. Amy's episode, you know, her first suicide attempt at 7, that just, that really weighed heavy on my heart because, you know, 7 years old, you know.
You haven't even really started life yet.
No. Like,
you know, like, and then that terrifies me because I have a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, so that stuff like that, it really does. You know, and I think also the point of this, right, as down bad as like these people have been, right, it shows that there's lightness.
Yes.
Right. Again, because you go back to like these people have completely changed.
Right. And a lot of these people work in recovery now. You know, and it's because like once we get our recovery, we are it's not like a mandate, but like in our recovery, we're supposed to do service work. And what better way to do service work than to jump back in the field and try to help others feel the way we feel, you know?
Right.
Since these episodes have started, I am now a LADAC in training. So it's kind of like I'm a professional in training now. So like, it's like my words are more meaningful to myself, at least, you know, like when I'm teaching and group facilitating groups at Path, you know, like I didn't think losing my job, making all that money I was making, to scraping pennies every month, that I would be blessed beyond my means. Because for me, it's like every month I'm trying to figure out how something's going to get paid. And just by me believing and staying the course, staying the path, as you say, since, you know, Path B sponsor me. So staying the path, you know, somehow everything gets paid, like God takes care of it. And if that's the one thing that can come out of this, you know, we're never going to end this. This is probably going to go on until Brian gets tired of it. And then I'll have to beg somebody else to come on. But like for me, this is like, we're going to do this until like one of us was to move away or something.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that's, you know, really kind of a forever, you know, kind of thing. And, you know, I think what makes this so interesting is, so I have 2 older sisters. I'm not going to name them. Again, if you know me, you know who they are. And we tried. We really did. We tried to almost do something like this, where, you know, we were talking about our childhood and like all of our, you know, really all of our traumas and like how can we help people. But I don't think it was sending the right message. You know, like it probably did help somebody I never knew, but I think a lot of the stuff that we were talking about, or that they were talking about, like the reason that I stepped away from it was because I couldn't relate to it.
Right.
You know, so again, like there was stuff that happened because me being the youngest, I mean, there was stuff that happened before I was born that like I got a completely different side of childhood.
Yeah.
You know, like so it was tough for me to kind of relate and really speak on it. Like I would just sit through most episodes just kind of like twiddling my thumbs, like, you know. So
Which is weird because I mean it's not weird, but it's actually like the facts though, because like me and my brother was talking not even that long ago, and I asked him if our stepdad did anything to him, like physically, and he said not until that last day when he got his hands on him. But he said, but all the other stuff that I suffered, he never got none of it. And it's weird that like a parent and or a step parent, a lot of times they don't attack the whole family. It's one or two. Like if you got several brothers or sisters, it could be two of them, but there's always one that don't get hands put on. Like Jess talked about last week, you know, she said that the third one was the golden child that never had hands put on, but the other 5 or 6 got hands put on them, you know, and it's always that way because whether parents want to admit it or not, you know, a lot of times there is a favorite. They try not to show it's a favorite, but a lot of times there's one that's going to get away more than the others.
Yeah.
You being the youngest, it was probably you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% probably like my mom's favorite. I mean, I'm probably both of my parents' favorite, but like it wasn't weird growing up. Again, like there was no resentment toward my parents. You know? And there was just, you know, so much love for my parents. Like always have, always will. You know, I've grown past the forgiving my parents for what they did in the past, you know, and because it's the past that stays back there, you know, and they've changed so much as people and everything, and so, and you know, looking at the way like they treat my kids and and my nieces and everything like that, it's amazing, right? And again, it's just like some of these other stories, like you would never know anything ever happened in my family have I not told you.
Right. No, because I was with them all last night.
You know, and yeah, I mean, you met basically all of them except for my oldest sister who wasn't there.
Yeah. And we had fun. We have fun. We have a great time. You know, they've kind of adopted me.
Yeah. You know, my dad and my older sister who was there last night. I mean, we're going to Atlanta. This will be after our trip, but to see the Syracuse and in Tennessee play.
Go Syracuse.
You know, and and so like, you know, having that kind of bond and being able to do that stuff as a family after some of the stuff that we went through, like, is really unheard of.
Right.
You know, especially in our family. So there's been a lot of people like in our family and other, you know, other parts of our family that went through the same thing. I think the biggest thing is us as a family, we went through treatment. I mean, we did counseling, the whole 9, right?
Absolutely.
We got help.
Yeah. Because it's there. Use it.
You know, and we got help. You know, that was the thing. We got help. We got fixed. It was rough for a few years, but we've learned to love and to grow. And so it's, again, it just all ties back to this. I think because going through that little bit, and I was young.
Yeah.
Like when we did counseling, I was young. I was maybe a little bit older than my oldest.
Oh yeah, he was super young.
I was young, and you know, so again, a lot of that stuff I don't remember. You know, so I've just grown to live past it. I'm like, you know, it's probably back there somewhere, but like, need I need to worry about it? No.
Yeah,
it happened. Yeah.
Brian also has helped out Path with the kickball tournament.
Yeah.
That
was fun. That was hella fun. I would do that again.
You know, he can't take credit for it, but the place he works for helped out one of the recovery houses that we
Yeah.
that my buddy runs, that helped him with the driveway and just with
Yeah.
the
So,
outside
and
stuff.
I can probably speak on that a little bit. So being in retail and being in my position, we have a volunteer service. And so we go out and we find, the veterans, people in need, anything like that, and in the community to help them out. So when Tyler posted, I need help on Facebook, I immediately called him. I was like, hey, we have this service. Let me see if I can get a grant put through. We'll get the materials. We'll come out. We'll fix it. Right. And sure enough, right, we couldn't do it initially through like his organization. So we had to do it through a nonprofit that was nice enough to sponsor it, which was Hustle Recovery. So
Nice.
Shout out to them as well for doing that.
Shout out to Hustle.
And they were able to sponsor it, and we got to push through, and we went out there and did our thing, man. I mean,
they did, and T-Bell was emotional from it. He was blessed. The guys in the house got emotional when they saw all the stuff come out there and all the stuff that they helped do that day. Like, it really spruced the house up a lot. It helped us with a parking situation out there that had gotten to the point where it was just basically almost swampland with mosquitoes infested, and you couldn't even stay outside really. So, he's the one thing that Brian has done even more so since the podcast has started. He's really gotten in with us at Path to like help us whenever there's something that pops up video wise or anything like that, and he jumps on it for free. Like he's really just like, I appreciate him greatly because one, he's doing it as a friend to me, and two, it helps him get his brand out there because, we're going to shout his brand out too, because he's done some photography out on the side also. He's trying to build his brand and get his stuff up off the ground too. So that's why me and him were doing what we're doing, because we're helping each other out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And shout out your production company.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I started, so this has been a long, long time in the making. So I officially started Brian G326 Productions this year, but it's been a long, long time in the making. So I am one of those people, right? I have my hand in a lot of pots, and and that is all toward just growing up, right? It was okay. I wanted to be a musician when I was younger, so I wanted to learn how to make music, and I don't know if anybody would ever be able to find it, but me and my two best friends, we made a song called CBJ that was based on the instrumental from Taylor Gang by Wiz Khalifa. It was so, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was, oh man, childhood memory unlocked. Anyways, so I wanted to do music, right? Couldn't get into the music thing, right? Because just wasn't talented enough.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be. So then I wanted to do like the influencer, right? Be on camera, kind of thing. The Mr. Beast, whatever, like on Instagram, because this is right around when Instagram started doing video, and I was like posting like silly stuff every day, right? I had no friends, so I was like, okay, well, that's not working out. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get into like graphic design, right? Because I like art. I like to draw. I mean, I have notebooks and stuff full of sketches. Even like here in my living room, like my little cabinet over here has binders full of like old sketches. Let me get into graphic design. No, that didn't work. Then it was okay. Well, let me try doing like photography, right? I never invested in a camera. I was like, I'll just do it from my phone. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't working either. So eventually all of it wrapped up into right around like COVID. It was like, okay, well, let me let me do podcasting. Podcasting sounds fun. Talking to a microphone. I get to kind of take all of those things that I've learned.
Yeah.
And try to do and kind of incorporate it into one. And so I made like my own theme songs. I did my own album work for like album covers and stuff, and then merchandise, graphic design and all this stuff, and like all the video editing I learned, and all the audio and stuff like that. I learned all that. Shout out to YouTube, because all those tutorials, all those people out there that are like, learn how to do this in 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to watch it 3 times, but we'll do it. Doing all that stuff. And so finally, I've stuck with the podcast thing and tried to promote myself and some of my podcasts that I've done. And so finally this year, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to focus on the videography and photography thing. I'm gonna invest in it. I'm gonna get a camera. I'm gonna learn. I'm really gonna like dedicate myself to doing it, and try and do this. Post every single day if I can. And so obviously, with working with Juice, right, and offering myself up to do stuff for Path Recovery, right, it enables me to get content, right. It enables me to get stuff so I am available to post every single day. It's just been a long time coming. And so I finally settled on like kind of what I want to do, like career-wise, like with my life. This is it. Whether it's the podcasting or like the digital marketing thing, like
right.
It's kind of like it's what I'm the absolute best at.
Right. He makes me look good in front of the camera. I promise you. I show up, he's set up, he takes it home, he fixes it up where I don't look like an idiot when I start stuttering sometimes, because shout out my former job. Y'all know how I stuttered. So like I get twisted sometimes in my words. So, but yeah, he makes me look good.
Yeah. And it's also been a growth process because for so long, it's been me behind a microphone. And, I put together a script, like, here's what I want to say, kind of thing. And, right. So it was different stepping into being on the other side of the camera.
And you had a script and I'm just winging it.
And I never have a script for our episodes. Like, let's just put it that way. Like, when you watch some stuff, right, it's very scripted. Like, there's my cat. We have a very just generic, kind of like timeline that we want to follow.
Yeah, that's about it though.
It's very much a, hey, how you doing? Introduce yourself. Let's hear your story. If somebody out there was like you and they need help, what would you say to them? See you next time. Like that's
about as scripted as it gets.
That's
like
it.
there is no. I went when I had the vision for the podcast, when I shot it to him, I said I want it to be as raw and untouched as possible, because y'all see these podcasts up there for mental health recovery and they're all professional looking and they have on like your superstars and your athletes and your actors, and they're all polished and stuff. And I mean, let's just be honest, recovery is not polished. That's not, and I wanted to do something different to where you could see the regular person going through recovery. The bad side, the good side, the emotional side, the laughing side. Like I wanted it as raw as possible, because that's recovery. Me stuttering on the camera, that's recovery. Like me getting tongue tied and getting to the end of an episode, and I know what question I want them to ask, but I can't figure out how in my head to get it to the point. And sometimes takes me 5 minutes to get the question out at the end of the show. That's recovery. Like I feel like that's what makes us different, because we're not. I was watching a recovery podcast last night, actually, very good one, and but he's got cue cards, and I'm just like, I don't want nothing polished like that, because like, first of all, I'm not a polished person. Right. You're not a polished person. Like no. we're just two goofballs, in this thing together. So like, that's why I like it the way it is, and some of the feedback I've gotten on the podcast, they're like, you're not professional enough. And I'm like, but I don't want to be. Like thank you for that compliment.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate that compliment.
Yeah, and I guess, right, I mean, that all comes from perspective, right? Like, what is professional?
Right.
You know, like, is it because we're not dressed a certain way?
Right.
Is it because the camera angles aren't working the separate ways? Or
we're not cutting out the fumbles?
Yeah.
But like that, I love that though.
Yeah, I mean, so when he was like, hey, I want these episodes as raw as possible, I'm like, okay, I got you. I mean, honestly, that's less work for me, right? Because we may shoot an episode in an hour and 20 minutes, but the full length clip is probably like an hour 28, you know, and I'm only taking out dead space where somebody's just like,
yes.
You know, like,
because that was only like 5 seconds, but you see how long that is without talking. Like if you watch it, you know, that's a long time. Or like I say, or like a lot, so he'll cut some of those out.
Yeah, I mean, if it makes sense, right? So we'll just go back, like, second episode, Lee. And shout out to Lee, love you, man. It was amazing. But the you knows.
Yeah, Lee knows he's a big you know.
Every other word, you know. And I know I say it a lot. It's just so funny. Like, if you could see the edited, it's just like chop, chop, chop. It's like dicing up a cucumber on a cutting board.
I was like, you know, they're going to have to cut out about 400 you knows out of this episode. He's like, you know.
You know, but it was awesome. So it's stuff like that as long as it makes sense when they say, you know, the or likes stuff like and you know, when there probably doesn't need to be one there, like that's the stuff that I'll take out. And usually that generates about 5 to 7 minutes of content, right? So, I mean, the stuff that you guys are seeing is legitimate, really unedited. I mean, because everything I take out, you're not missing anything.
No.
You're not missing anything. Unless there's stuff out there that, like, you know, if somebody says something, and I don't think we've really had it.
We've only had to bleep out one episode some. Shout out to Chef. We had to bleep out some of the places he went to because I'm not here to put down any facilities because all facilities have their pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
And I want all recovery centers to be on a positive note on my podcast and not negativity.
Yeah. So there was that, but there hasn't been anything where it's been like, hey man, we're gonna have to like cut like
20 minutes
worth of stuff because it's bad, right? Like there hasn't been any of that.
No. Or reshoots because, you know, a lot of podcasts do reshoots. Like, let's just be real. They
do. They do. And it's they'll come in, right? And they'll be like, well, I don't like, or just even if it's not reshoots, like multiple takes.
Yeah.
You know,
we don't do that.
Yeah. All of our episodes, one take.
One take. It ain't like when I was trying to shoot the commercials for the show. And it was like,
we can do it in one take. 15 later.
But see, here's the problem. I was trying to go off the script. The one take that we used, I just went from the heart.
Yeah.
Was it not?
Sure, it was.
Because we tried to write it on the whiteboard for me to read it. I couldn't see it because I'm blind. We tried to get it to where I would remember like 15 seconds at a time. We was going to do 15 seconds at a time of me remembering stuff. Couldn't do it, you know. And then once I just was like, you know what? Let me not sit in the chair because it's making me nervous. And let me just walk. Mm-hmm. The only thing you hear on that one is that I got winded walking halfway down the hall and trying to talk because my mouth got dry. So at the end of the shoot, it's like, but he kept it, you know, and it worked, you know. But the outtakes on that was really funny. But so we don't really have outtakes like that. If we have outtakes, it's either what happens before, like right before we start really recording for the show, or afterwards when we're just wrapping up, talking to the guest afterwards. Sometimes we'll keep some of that and make little outtakes for that. You know, we're gonna do some funny little commercials here soon. We got some ideas. Brian's actually got some really good ideas. You know, and with the word juice, you can do a whole lot of fun stuff with that. Yeah. So we're gonna do some of that. We will have a season 1 wrap up, and then we're gonna go back to the drawing board. Probably come out with a new theme and a new beginning? Was that what we're thinking?
Yeah. We'll distinguish like season 1 and season 2 by different intros. Definitely, we'll shoot something different.
We'll have more than we didn't even do that with a camera.
The intro? Yeah. No.
Did we have that camera?
Yeah, we had the camera.
Oh, I thought we still on iPhones on that.
No, because we used both. We used both an iPhone and a camera for it. So we'll do a different intro. We'll do something like, I'm not gonna spoil it. It'll be a surprise.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise.
It'll be a surprise. But we'll distinguish them by intros, and then we'll maybe try and spruce up the episodes a little bit. Maybe try and take them a different route, but kind of generally keep the same format.
Yeah, it'll still be one take, y'all.
Yeah,
one take, because I can't do multiple takes.
That's right.
And we'll try not to shoot multiple episodes in a day, because I noticed that I get wore out. Like it can be draining doing multiple episodes in a day. We've done it before,
especially when you go through and you do like a whole day's worth of just like work.
Yes, and like I did a whole day of work, and then we shot back-to-back episodes and left at like 7, 8 o'clock that night. That was
it's a long day.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a long day, man.
And I want to give each guest, the same energy no matter what, and let them have the floor and let them do their thing. What else we got in the pipeline?
Just going through like Recovery Fest, throughout Middle Tennessee.
We should be at the Sumner County Recovery Fest
coming up
September 21st.
September 21st, we'll be there. So if you want to pop in, I'll have all my stuff. So we'll be recording, we'll be taking videos. Right, Path will be there. We're going to be walking around. It won't be as hot, and I won't have a kidney stone, y'all. Y'all don't realize this, but at the last Recovery Fest, we had to stop doing it. But I thought I was overheated. Like, I thought I was getting like heat exhaustion that night, but come to find out, I was trying to pass a really big kidney stone. Whew. And like right after Recovery Fest and after, I got back home, I literally went to the ER that night and had surgery that following Monday. So like for everybody at the first Recovery Fest that I didn't get to come talk to, actually, I apologize. But like, I thought I was being a weenie and I was just too hot. But in fact, I was in the process of trying to pass a kidney stone at that place. Yeah. Damn.
It was rough too. Like, missed a whole week of work after that because of it. But like, we got some really good stuff coming up. I'm really happy with this. We never did this to make any money. We just wanted something where people could like pop in and watch and be like, hey, I can use some recovery. The place I went to treatment at, the ranch, I know they have it on their whiteboards at a lot of places at the different houses, and I appreciate them greatly for that.
Yeah.
We've gotten some clients at Path through the podcast, and I'm grateful for that because that's exactly what I wanted it to do. We're just doing this just to show people recovery, and showing people that all of us have some junk in our past, and some of us can't deal with it. And if you could use a little bit of help, we're out here. We want to see the numbers of especially men suicide to go down.
Yeah.
80% of all the suicides in this country are men right now. And it's sad, because men feel like they have no place to go. And where I want this to be recovery for men, women, children, grandparents, and everything, it is a little men focused right now because their numbers are the ones that are the greatest. And, we got to get them down because we can't be losing all these men. I think it was 800,000 last year that we lost, and it's just that's a number that's way too high and we got to get it down. And this is one of the reasons why I started this is I was one of those that was going to be one of those 800,000, and now I'm going to fight for every one of them that we can fight for to get them what they deserve, because nobody deserves to feel like the end result should be suicide.
Right.
You agree?
Absolutely.
We got a cat walking around, if y'all don't see.
Yeah.
That's why we're laughing. He's like, she's really trying to like get around feet and stuff.
Yeah, she's very, very clingy to me. So.
But with that being said,
you got
any final words?
You want me to show you how to do a closeout?
Show us how to do a closeout.
Yeah.
Brian's going to do the closeout tonight.
Yeah, I'll show you how to do this. All right. Because I've had plenty of practice with this. Thank you guys for joining us for the Morning Juice Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Morning Juice Pod. You can also go to the link www.morningjuicepod.com to find our website where you can find the help that you need under the resources tab. Also, if you do want to help support the suicide awareness in America, you can purchase one of our t-shirts, the Support Hope Wear the Change t-shirt. That 20% of profits go toward the Suicide Awareness Foundation. Also, thank you, Juice, for having me on this episode. It's been phenomenal. We look forward to seeing you and hearing from you in all of our episodes. Please make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe to all of our social medias and all of our platforms. And we will talk to you guys later. Until next time.
See you, juicers.
Peace out.
You nailed that one.